Hello everyone, and welcome to another What's for Dinner on WW Personal Points plan. In this video, I'm going to be showing you what we had for dinner this week, as well as giving you my personal points for these meals. But be sure to check the description box of this video to find full instructions, ingredients, and links to my recipe builder to find out what your points are for these meals. Or for the one that I have done a previous video on, you will find a link to that. And in that video, you will find the instructions, ingredients, and link to the recipe builder. But let's get started and see what we had for dinner this week. First up is chicken pancit. Now this is the one that I've done a previous video on. We love this. It's very good and it's very easy. And again, the link to this full recipe video with all the information is going to be down below in the description box. So this one starts with a tablespoon of olive oil that I've got heating in a wok here. And to that, I'm going to add some chopped mushrooms and some chopped red onion. I'm going to add a little bit of fresh ground black pepper to that. And then I'm going to just cook the two of these in here until those veggies are softened. And then over here, I've got a pot of water that's heated up, and I'm going to add in my rice noodles. You just want to cook your noodles according to what the instructions on the back of the package say. These ones, basically, you just add to hot water and let them sit for about 10 minutes or until they're softened. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to add my noodles into my hot water and let them sit for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to drain them and set them aside. Now that my mushrooms and onions are softened, I'm going to add in a little bit of minced garlic and mix that in and let it cook for a minute or so. And then I'm going to add in a bag of coleslaw. This is 14 ounces. A lot of the times I will use more than just 14 ounces, but that's all I had, so that's all I put in. But I'm going to mix that in and let that cook until that cabbage is softened up. And then I'm going to add in some soy sauce, some green onions, and some chopped boneless, skinless cooked chicken breast. I'm going to mix all that together. And then I'm going to add in my cooked rice noodles. I like to kind of break these up so that I can stir it easier. So that's what I'm doing here, just breaking it up. And then I just stir all those in. And here's what it looks like when it is done. And here is a serving of that, which is about 1.5 cups. And that for me is 3 points plus 1 earned veggie point. Along with that, I'm having one of these corn muffins. I show these quite a bit. We really, really like these. I will link the recipe video on these up above and down below if you haven't checked those out, but those are 2 points apiece. So that's going to make my dinner total for tonight 5 points. Next up is 2-ingredient dough taco pizza. We love making pizzas with this 2-ingredient pizza dough. It works really well. The pizzas taste so good. And this is just another version of that with taco. And I think actually this taco is probably one of my favorites so far. It's just very, very tasty. This starts with making up a batch of taco meat. This is just the recipe that I use for tacos. It is a pound of lean ground turkey. I'm using 93% lean. If you used a lower fat turkey, it would be less points. And to that, I'm adding a small onion that I've chopped up, and I'm gonna just let the two of those cook together. Next, I'm going to add in some minced garlic and let that cook for about a minute or so, followed by some chili powder, ground cumin, and then a can of Rotel. I'm going to mix all of this together and let that kind of continue to cook for a couple minutes. Next, in a medium-sized bowl, I'm going to take a can of fat-free refried beans, and to that I'm going to add 3/4 cup of salsa, and I'm going to just mix the two of them together real well until it looks like this. And then I'm gonna set that aside and work on my dough. So for the dough, as I said earlier, I'm gonna be using the 2-ingredient pizza dough, which I do mine a little differently than the Weight Watchers app has it. I do 1 cup self-rising flour to 3/4 cup fat-free Greek yogurt instead of a 1-to-1 ratio. I just find that works a lot better when it comes to dealing with the dough. You also end up using less flour to knead and roll it out that way. So you're just gonna take those 2 ingredients, you're gonna mix them together until you form a dough, and then you're going to knead that dough for about 5 minutes. Once you've got your dough all kneaded, you're going to cut it into 2 equal parts, and then you're gonna take each part and you're gonna roll that out until it's roughly the size of your pizza pan. I don't get exact because I always end up stretching mine to fit. So then you're going to take your pizza pan, spritz it with a little olive oil, and then take that dough and stretch it to fit the pan. Next, I spritz the tops with a little bit more olive oil, and then I bake these for about 5 minutes at 425. And that is just to kind of create a seal on the crust so that when I put the toppings on, it doesn't get as soggy. Next, I'm going to take my bean mixture and I'm going to divide it evenly between the two pizzas and then spread it out on top of the crust. I'm going to do the same with the meat mixture. I'm going to sprinkle this on top of the pizzas, evenly dividing it between the two. And then next up, I've got some cheese here. I've got half part skim mozzarella and then half Mexican style blend. The Mexican style blend is a 40% less fat cheese. I love that one. I get it at Kroger. I use it for all kinds of things. But you could use whatever type of cheese you want. These are just the two cheeses that I'm using because this is what I had on hand and it sounded good. Then I'm going to take a can of olives and divide that between the two pizzas. And finally, on one of the pizzas, I'm going to add some jalapenos. I would add them to both, but my son definitely would not want these on his. So I'm going to just put these on the one for my husband and maybe me. I'm kind of back and forth when it comes to spicy stuff, but sometimes I like a little bit of spice. But if not, there's the other one without. So now what I'm going to do is take these and put them back in my preheated oven at 425. And I ended up cooking these for 14 minutes, but depending on your oven, I would say they need a cook time of about 12 to 15 minutes. Here are what mine looked like when they were done. And here is dinner. That is a sixth of one of the pizzas, but first let me show you the roses that my hubby brought me home that day for no reason. I love getting flowers for no reason. Anyway, back to my pizza here. I've got a sixth of one of those pizzas. I added a little lettuce, tomato, green onion, and fat-free Greek yogurt, all of which were 0. The pizza itself was 5 points for me, for a total of 5 points for dinner. And the last thing this week was smoked salmon. Now, I didn't show this being made. I do have a separate video where I show my husband making this. So if you want to see how he did this, you can check that out. I'll have that linked up above and down below, but it is smoked salmon and it is delicious. And I swear I could eat this every single week. My hubby smoked this up. He's been sampling it.
Yes, I gotta check it for razor blades.
Gotta make sure it's good. Did you say this is the best one you've done?
It was a very easy smoke.
Oh, okay. We've shown this smoked salmon before, probably, I don't know, a few times, and we have an actual video on it that shows how he smokes this. I'll go ahead and link that up above and down below if you want to check that out. But this is definitely my favorite way to have salmon. Yours too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very good. So I just thought I'd show you that, and then I will show you what else we're having with this. And here is dinner. I've got 4 ounces of that salmon there. It is about a point an ounce. Now we do have a brine on this, but I would say most of that gets washed off, right? So I don't really count that. But if you wanted to add another point for the brine, you could. But I'm gonna call that 4 points for 4 ounces. And then we've also got some brown rice over here with nothing on it. That's a half cup for 3 points. Some steamed broccoli with a little bit of black pepper on it, 0 points. Plus, that's at least a cup, so that's going to earn a non-starchy veggie point. So total points for dinner tonight is 7 points plus 8 earned veggie point. That was what we had for dinner on WW this week. As I said before, check down the description box below for info on all these meals. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you, as always, for watching.